All right, we are live. This is the Fox and Hound podcast. This is Fox.
And the Hound.
And today we're going to be talking about a few things. I know I've got a few topics, but I started last time, so I want you to go ahead and kick us off this time with anything you got in your mind.
Sure. Well, just to keep it fresh and I guess more or less get it out of the way. Obviously, right now is conference tournament time for college basketball. So I'm personally looking up all the stuff even before the podcast, just kind of keeping up with all the scores on the days. It's actually pretty exciting. Right now, there's a couple games going on. Alabama, who was just number one like 2 weeks ago, unranked now, and they'll still probably get in the tournament, or the March Madness tournament. In the conference tournament, they're being upset right now as we speak in the second half against Kentucky. Might sneak in at 14 and 17. So pretty fascinating. Illinois beat Michigan earlier. That puts Michigan not in the tournament. They're officially out. And Illinois is actually going to be in. They're right there on the bubble, but that win gets them in. Tons of good games on. If you're bored right now, it's the second round in most of the tournaments. So I figured I'd get that update out of the way, and then UCLA. As I said last week, my heavyweight favorite. They're playing Arizona State right now at the half, up 36-32. If you want to catch them, they're fun to watch. So figured I'd do my update right away.
Okay, yeah, it's a good update. I know that next week is the plan to do March Madness brackets, so probably start with that next week. Do the whole bracket as a whole. Go through it. I've been trying to catch up little by little. And golly gosh, now is the time because teams are just getting kicked out.
Well, yeah, the conference tournaments. If you watch at least that part, I feel like you get a good idea because you see how they're playing going into the tournament. So,
But yeah, okay, very very excited for that. I think that'll be something fun to watch. Outside of the realm of sports, or I guess kind of in the realm of sports, and now I've kind of gotten a little curious. Did you catch any of the basketball All-Star game? I know we're a little late on it, but
I saw the score and no, I don't watch it anymore. It's not a game.
It's not a game. I watched a little bit of the dunk contest.
That was good.
That was good because that was reminiscent of a time-lost tradition of dunk contests. I feel like it was kind of a return to form.
Mac McClung was awesome. That was the best dunk performance we've seen in the slam dunk contest since Vince Carter. So it was good that he brought that back. And
I said, "Geez, Vince Carter."
They got all tens. I mean,
yeah,
you lit the whole gym up. Everybody. I mean, he made the dunk competition a thing again. Hopefully.
Yeah, I mean, I remember watching the dunk competition years ago. I just turned it on a whim because I was like, oh, I used to like watching this as kind of like a kid and watching the dunk competition because it was fun. Hence Vince Carter. But
right.
I was watching it and I just remember thinking to myself, I don't know a single name in this competition. And at the time, from what I understood, they were pushing a lot of like not well named, not even rookies into the dunk competitions. And I was
for years.
Yeah.
For years.
And I was like,
it's good it's become.
All right.
But a lot of people blame LeBron because you think about it, back in the day, you had Dominic Wilkins, he's in the dunk contest. You had Dr. J, he's in the dunk contest. Michael Jordan, he's in the dunk contest. Vince Carter, he's in the dunk contest. So what happens? Other guys get in the dunk contest. Same with Olympic teams, things like that. When the main guy, LeBron, who's the face of the NBA, does all these other things, but he specifically says, I will not join the dunk contest. Look at when it stopped. Look when people stopped joining. When LeBron became the superstar of the league, nobody's in the dunk contest anymore because he said he wouldn't do it. So I blame LeBron, as always. That's my theory.
Yeah. I mean, which is sad because it's LeBron, right? You go, LeBron should be the one to be excited about that.
Right.
but I don't know. I guess not.
No.
But now it looks like it's coming back. So.
Well, yeah, that was huge. And Mac McClung, man, he's great. He was a Max Preps All Star since he was like 16 years old. I've been following that kid for a while and hoping he gets a chance in the NBA. He's been dropped by LeBron in the Lakers, but he's been kind of moved around and never really got a chance. So to see his name in the dunk competition, I was pumped. I was like, hey, he's gonna for sure win. And then when I saw him perform, because he used to do that in high school. When you saw in that dunk competition at that height, the kid was doing that on people in high school. He was a freak. He came out the same year as Zion. He just didn't get any exposure. So I'm hoping now that he got that little media hype that he actually gets some playing time too. That'd be cool.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I guess that was the initial intention of it, but like, I'm just glad that they got someone who can actually, dunk.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, if you haven't seen it, watch the highlights. You won't be let down.
Yeah. I know I watched a good amount of the highlights, and I was very happy with that. I was like, oh, this is fun. This is fun again.
Yeah.
Finally fun again.
Yep, it was.
But to to segue that into remembering when things were fun, get into the car a little bit earlier today, and I hear Raylene, she's singing a song, and I don't know what she was saying. I think she was saying like little ninja sewer babies or something, and I went, what are you singing? Because it sounded like it was in the tone of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Okay.
And she goes, oh, it's from this show that she watches on YouTube. And I was like, Ray, that's not how it goes. I was like, wait a minute. She stole that. And she was like, no, she didn't steal it. And so I played the old song, the old Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles song. And she listened to it. She went, oh, she stole it. And I started thinking about it. I was like, are we in a period now where recycling everything has just become the norm?
Oh yeah, there's no new ideas.
I mean, there's a
few. There's no new movies. There's no new. Titanic just came out in theaters. The same one from 30 years ago.
In 3D. How dare you? How dare you compare?
Like, it's just crazy. It's like you guys couldn't come up with a new movie. Like, I don't know. And I feel like that causes a lot of the good stuff to get overlooked. I watched a movie, for instance, called The Gray Man the other day. Just saw it on Netflix from last year. Fantastic movie. Have you seen it?
No, I have not.
Absolutely fantastic. Ryan Gosling, Chris Evans, Billy Bob Thornton. Total, just a great action thriller with a good point to it. Everything. Never heard of the movie, and I'm like, this is out last year, but it gets convoluted by all of the recycling. I think they play on nostalgia. This is a big topic, in my opinion. I'm very adamant about this. I think that they recycle too much.
And I feel that, right? I feel like a lot of new ideas are either stuck in a weird limbo, or you have sequels to things that probably don't need sequels. I'm thinking of 2 sequels that are in theaters right now. But to talk about that, have you seen Avatar: Way of Water?
No, I didn't go see it.
Have you seen the new Puss in Boots movie?
No, but I bet that's good.
So, the new Puss in Boots movie might be the greatest cinematic achievement of DreamWorks history. I heard nothing but good things about it, so I was like, man, I got to check this out. I have to know. I have to know why people are so excited about this. And so I go to check it out, and it was like I forget the what it's from, but Danny DeVito, when he's watching the video, and he goes, "Oh my god, I get it." It was funny because I was watching it, and it was like everything, to like sound design to animation, and I was like, this is good. This is really good. And it's
what
not
made it so good.
Just everything, the storytelling, the voice acting, you can tell that Antonio Banderas is like having the time of his life in that little studio. You can tell
Sure.
he's going nutty. But everything, just the way it was written, the concepts. I mean, not to give away what the concept is, right? But you see it in the trailer. Is Puss in Boots is out of his 9 lives. And so now what does he do when he has no more lives to give, to be careless with?
He's got to be careful.
He has to be careful.
Oh, he got his boots on.
But then a shooting star comes into play where they can go make a one last wish or something like that. And so that's the whole premise of the movie, is that he's gonna wish for more lives, or you don't know what he's gonna do. And so it's a great movie. And from what I've heard, Way of Water is better than the original Avatar, but it's just the same thing.
Right. I mean, it is the same thing. Like, I was asked to go see it on opening night, and I refused. And and it's because I didn't want to see it. I'm one of the well, I know there's a group of us. There's a niche group of us. I didn't like the original Avatar. I'm throwing it out there right now. I'm not an Avatar fan.
That's fair.
Not a fan. Yeah,
I mean, it's not. It's not like it was some cinematic masterpiece in terms of acting. It's not like the plot and everything. Again, recycled, right? Like, I've seen Dances with Wolves, Pocahontas, and everything else like that. You know, I've seen all these movies.
It's the same movie. The thing is, too, is everybody's, oh man, these special effects. Oh my gosh, you should see the special effects. It's 2023. Every Puss in Boots has great special effects. Every movie has great special. It's like, oh my gosh, look at the graphics. Like, every studio should have great graphics. So to me, that's not like a, oh my gosh, I gotta go see this. I gotta see how the colors look like. I feel like we're past that, where it's like.
I mean, we're starting to, because you can tell Marvel movies are starting to fail, and that's when you know we've reached peak.
No, you can't just win with just a ton of CGI and throw it out there anymore. You gotta have a good movie.
But you used to. Man, everyone watched Thor when it first came out. And that was a bad movie.
It is, which is crazy because the Ragnarok's fantastic. Thor Ragnarok's a good movie.
Oh, Ragnarok is great. But that's the thing, is I kind of feel like, and I want your perspective on this, what they're doing today isn't too much different from what they were doing back in like the 70s and whatnot. Well, I guess late 70s and mid 80s, around that time frame.
In what regard?
In the regard of everything they're doing, because I like the concept of what people are saying about Avatar. Jimmy's got a plan.
Yeah.
Jimmy's got a plan.
Yeah.
No, the idea of creating something for the sole fact of selling it. In terms of He-Man, Masters of the Universe, Thundercats, TMNT. You go, most of that stuff is coming out because they're not like concepts that were probably. I don't think any of those were probably concepts that were created solely as cartoons.
Right, they don't have to brand. They have the branding already done. And on top of that, they have the nostalgia to boot. So it's like, let's see Ninja Turtles. You don't have to do an origin story. People know what a Ninja Turtle is, so you get to skip the branding part of the marketing, and then you play on people's nostalgia. The problem is, it's become so much about profits. That's the entertainment we're getting.
So now, how do you feel about like video game movies and shows?
Well, so it depends. Like, I'm not against the sequels, and I'm not against the recreations. I just think it has to be done within balance. Like Avatar, for instance. Like, okay, that movie to me ended when I saw it. It was epic. Like, got all the Oscars. Like, wow, fascinating. Like, and it had an ending. To come back and do what they did with the sequel, to me was like, you're stretching at that point. And then you make it the exact same, just with like a little different like concept. Like, to me, that's not a sequel that needed to be done. When you look at like For instance, you're playing that Hogwarts Legacy game and streaming that. That's amazing because they're taking a concept, they're going a completely different time period, but yet it's still kind of like wrapping up the essence of the game. Like Top Gun is an interesting example. The first 20 minutes of that movie, you're nervous because you're like, holy shit, they're literally copying the movie. You can almost like give me like got me like kind of like, oh god, please tell me they're not doing this. Then the movie was fantastic when they went a different direction. But they had to kind of have the underbody of like, okay, this is this is why the story's connected. Let's go our own direction. I think it's messed up when they try to recreate the movie, try to make it like the same but better than it was before, and it always fails. Look at Jurassic World. I'm sorry, I thought that was trash all the way around.
Yes, I mean Jurassic. The thing is, and I think a lot of people are too afraid to say it, and they don't want to. And I think you've seen. I will put this on stream immediately if for anyone who hasn't seen it. But the explanation behind the voices of the Mario movie.
No.
when they're talking about it, and Shigeru Miyamoto is talking about Chris Pratt as Mario, and he goes, Chris Pratt will be Mario. He's so cool. It's like that's why you watch Jurassic Park and you're like, wait a minute, these actors are bad.
They were the wrong character. They were wrong. Yeah, they were not.
They were non-characters.
They didn't fit the mold like at all.
I could have been the character that Chris Pratt is, and no one would have known the difference. It's just that Chris Pratt is so cool.
Well, and watch any of those shows that like are from Korea or China. I mean, they use that term like literally like it's going out of style. He's so cool. That's so cool, man. It's just like cool is like their barometer, man. Like
that's so
cool. Cool. Since they're all naturally smart, or else they jump off buildings. Cool is the fun. Like that's the apex. That's where like if you're cool, and then but yet they throw around like it's going out of style. That's so cool, man. Cool. He's so cool.
That's so
like,
cool.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, but I mean,
like, okay, got it. Cool.
I mean, that's what you have to pander to, right? I mean, when you're making these movies, look at Transformers, right? Transformers, horrible movies, absolutely trash movies, extremely well received in the East.
That's a great example.
Because I mean, just because big car hit other big car, awesome.
I never knew who was fighting who in those movies. I was like, man, the fight scenes were so just like too much action that I was like, I don't know who's winning the fight. I don't even know who's fighting.
Well, because back in the cartoon era, they were all well distinct colors, and they were like really like Optimus Prime was like neon red and neon blue. And you knew it was Megatron, but because he was big metal silver guy. He had no color to him. That was usually how you signified evil back then, was no color. But I mean, at the same time, obviously that mold got broken and shattered. But I mean, if you think about the most heinous example, right, was He-Man, from what I remember, is a toy company created the toys for He-Man and then approached a studio and said, hey, can you make a cartoon about these? And to me, that's no different than how we're now approaching like video game movies and shows, because there's a few that are good. I don't know, have you seen Detective Pikachu?
Oh, so good.
And Sonic?
So good. But Sonic's
fantastic. Great. And now have you seen the Last of Us TV show?
I haven't, but I've been told I need to
watch it. It's amazing. It's incredible.
I've been told, yeah.
It's an incredible show. Everyone is giving it their all in that show, and it's fantastic. But
doesn't it have like a little Lady Mormont, isn't it?
Yeah,
from Game of Thrones?
Yeah. Little Lady Mormont.
It's good.
It's fantastic. It's so good though. It's such a good show, and they do it such good justice. But then on the other end of that, right? Because you got to tackle the other end, who hasn't done it well. And I look at the Halo show, and now I'm afraid for the Mario movie, and I'm afraid for all these other things. Because, like, I look at the Mario movie, and I don't know if you've seen any of the trailers, but Chris Pratt's Mario voice is just the same voice he does for everything. It's just Chris Pratt.
I mean, my worry is, did they pick his voice? Okay, we know that they picked Chris Pratt because he's cool. So did they pick the rest of them off of the most wackiest things? Seth Rogen is Donkey Kong. Is that because he looks like Donkey Kong, or because he sounds like Donkey Kong? That's why I'm kind of confused. Jack Black's Bowser. What? He's the most humanly form of Bowser that it could be like. I don't see those guys as like that. Those voices. The only one that kind of makes sense to me is Charlie Day as Luigi. Believe it or not. I see that.
Go watch the trailer when you get the chance. Jack Black's Bowser. Crazy. He's giving it his all. Just in the trailer.
He can pull anything off, though.
He does a great little Bowser voice, and it's fantastic. You can tell it's Jack Black, but you're like, okay, it's still good. It's well done. And you go, Jack Black's used to that, though, right? You know, name one character animated that Chris Pratt has done, and you know the name of off the top of your head.
I can't.
Good job. You can't. I can because I just have that knowledge.
Lego movie.
But what was the character's name?
Lego Man.
He was also the bigger brother in the Onward movie from Disney.
Okay.
No.
Yeah. I mean, very forgettable.
What was his name?
I don't know. So yeah, I guess there's nothing memorable to make.
But then
really
you think of Jack Black, and you know what he did. And sure, it wasn't far off from just his regular voice, but in
Kung Fu Panda, right?
You know he's Kung Fu Panda.
You know Ice Age too. Ice Age, Kung Fu Panda. I want to say he was in Shark Tale. He was in Shark Tale back in the day too. I shit you not. I'm pretty sure he was.
Ice Age. Was he in Ice Age?
He was Zeke from Ice Age.
Who?
Zeke, like the side character, Zeke. You know what I'm talking about?
No.
You serious?
I don't know what you're talking about.
I feel like of all the things, man, like it's the what's it called? Woolly Mammoth or whatever. He hangs out with the little freaky guy at the beginning, but then branches off. He's Zeke. He's the sidekick to the main character. I swear. I gotta look this up. Hold on.
What? In Ice Age?
Ice Age, bro. The original Ice Age. He's the mammoth dude. That's the tiger guy. That's the sidekick. Yeah, great. I think. Let me look it up.
I'm pretty sure that it was Ray Romano as Manny. Sid was what's
John
his?
Leguizamo.
Yeah, John Leguizamo. And then Diego. Who is Diego?
Right here. Thomas. Yeah, Jack Black. Zeke. Ice Age. Woolly Mammoth buddy. Yeah, he was one hanging out with Scrat. That's the dude's name. And then he goes off with Manny and the crew. Yeah.
What? Why don't I know this character at all?
Sure. I mean, of all the people, you're like, there's a guy I would go to for these things. You said Jack Black's voice acting. I didn't know that I was going to give you a lesson on it. It feels good. It feels good.
I didn't know. But there you go. I mean, that's the thing is, Jack Black transcends roles, and so of course he's going to fit Bowser. Charlie Day is just Charlie Day. There's no difference there. Anna Taylor-Joy might have been the safest possible pick for a Princess Peach.
She looks like Peach.
She just looks like human Peach. And then
Seth Rogen, yeah.
Some of the other ones, you're just like, gosh, Keegan-Michael Key is Toad.
Yeah, I don't know. What the? Is it because he looks like Toad? Like, did they go down and pick Toad, Prince, and Donkey Kong based off looks? That look cool.
Donkey Kong off looks. I can't wait to hear Donkey Kong give me the
Yeah, It's gonna be Seth Rogen. It's not even Donkey Kong. It's gonna be like Donkey Kong as Seth Rogen. Like
Donkey Kong is Seth Rogen. But yeah, I mean, that's why any video game adaptations scare me. I mean, obviously, you can always double back to when they were making the live action video game movies back in the day. Bob Hoskins, and oddly enough, his name's going to come up again. Lucas, what's it? John
Leguizamo.
Thank you.
I don't know, just the best was one of my favorite movies growing up.
The best. Fantastic movie. But you look back at the Mario Brothers movie, and you go, John and Bob were absolutely smashed during the entire filming of that movie.
The movie's horrible.
The movie's awful. Because that movie sets that movie sets the precedence for every other video game movie or adaptation to come out later, because there was almost nothing outside of names alone. There was nothing that connected the Mario Brothers movie to anything Mario ever, except for one thing, and this has been canon since that movie. The movie coined it and showed us the truth that Mario and Luigi's name are Mario and Luigi Mario.
Yeah, but wow, they threw that in there because really, you're right. They could have put Hi, I'm Mario and Hi, I'm Luigi. That would have been more effort put in that. I feel like it's like a retro movie of going to like a Total Recall black dark Mall of America with haunted people everywhere with shoulder pads with spikes. It is the weirdest movie I've ever seen. At no point did I feel like, oh, that's Mario-esque. Like I'm watching your Harry Potter thing, like, oh my god, it's amazing. They captured the essence. I watched that movie, was like, what the hell is going on?
Well, and that's kind of the thing, right? Is you look at these adaptations nowadays. I watched the Halo show for like a few episodes, and the number one thing about Master Chief, the number one thing you have to get right, he does not take his helmet off. He just doesn't. He doesn't do it. Never. He doesn't like people to see his face. That is Master Chief. That is Spartan John 117. But I think it's like episode 1, my man has taken his helmet off, and he's just human. He's not a Spartan or anything. He's just a normal human man.
And you can't mess up Master Chief. That's why,
Well, yeah, and then by the end of the like first season or whatever, I don't know if it's by the end of it or a few episodes in, he ends up sleeping with a Covenant spy or something.
That's the dumbest thing. I'm glad I didn't watch it.
It's so bad.
That also ruined some of my fairy tale heroes. Master Chief's one of them. And when I saw that, I was like, I just saw the previews like that. That looks like a new age Mario, if you will.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, that's the thing. Is more often than not, video game movies have been awful. We are entering an age where they're actually being cared for and sought, like they're being.
Which ones are good?
Taken care of. I mean, you have the Sonic movies. Detective Pikachu is not bad. Okay. Detective Pikachu works. You go, Last of Us is fantastic. Stay away from Uncharted. Uncharted was very bad. I hated
that was the
Uncharted.
One I was actually kind of curious about. I thought that's what you were going to say, because that's the only one I could think about.
Yeah.
That they did recently.
Yeah, the Halo.
It remind me of the game.
Yeah, Halo show bad. Last of Us show great. And then you look at the Mario movie is kind of the next concept that's going to be coming, and it scares me.
See. I'm going to let others see it first, probably.
Yeah. I mean, but that's just playing to it, right? That's playing to the nostalgia of gaming as a whole. And I mean, I think the reverse, right, of gaming being used as a medium to tell longer stories, which has kind of always been a thing.
Sure.
With like movie video games and whatnot. I just felt like Hogwarts Legacy works for a different reason. I feel like Hogwarts Legacy works because that world is so fantastical and has so many possibilities to it. You could go anywhere with that. And I feel like the direction
within the realm of the lore, yeah. As long as you stay within the lore, like if you start doing stuff that's outside the box of what the super fans or the book, Harry Potter's got it's like Star Wars almost. Look what happened with Star Wars Episode 1, 2, and 3. That almost destroyed the franchise because they went so crazy with the octopus arm robot dude, general, whatever. That was nuts.
Well,
they kind of reeled it back in a little bit.
The directing and acting was
bad.
Oh, nothing strikes better than hearing the infamous line of George Lucas himself saying, "I might have gone a little too far in some places."
Too far every place.
it's like George, you went maybe a little too far in just about every possible place.
He took it way too far. I mean, it was just ridiculous. What was the name of that guy? General Mischievous, or what was the name?
General Grievous.
And
the actual lore, that's the thing. That's the problem. And here you go, right? This is what gets my goat. There was lore for General Grievous before General Grievous. And the idea of General Grievous is so fantastical. It's so awesome. One, Darth Maul should have been the main villain throughout the entire series. Darth Maul should have been the number one villain through 1, 2, and 3. He shouldn't have just been killed by an angry Padawan. 2, General Grievous needs to be an actual assassin, not some coughing gizmo dump that just kind of fades away.
He remind me of Rad 2.0 because then when he wanted to turn on his 8 arms, he could. He was like, boring robot.
Well, and the thing that doesn't make sense is the writing in the original Star Wars was absolutely paramount. It was amazing. The writing in the original 4, 5, 6 was so incredibly good. And then you look at the writing for 1, 2, and 3, and you're like, this is the opposite of airtight. This is the loosest writing because nothing makes sense. Nothing works. In what universe, right, is Yoda a great Jedi Master that they keep talking about? They keep going, man, Yoda, the greatest Jedi Master to ever exist. Oh man, it's Yoda. Look at this guy. Look at Yoda. And you go, okay, if he's so great, why is every single thing getting past him? Oh, the dark side, it blinds my judgment. It's like, Yoda, constantly?
But he's a very good, a semblance of today's leaders in America. Because if you just stand up there and say stuff like that, dude, that's actually, the more I think about it now, you're right. But it actually mirrors society today. It's like, don't worry, war is bad.
But yeah, you think about it and you go, think of Yoda in episode 5. When you meet Yoda, what is Yoda?
He's dead, right?
Not in episode 5. Because remember, Luke meets him on Dagobah.
Oh, yeah.
And what is Yoda? He's just a little green monster man who comes up to R2-D2 and starts banging him with a stick.
Yeah.
And he's grabbing the sausage and he's going, oh, my sausage!
Yeah, he's the guy that wants to have people over at Tickle Party.
Yeah, he's being an absolute goofball because he's testing Luke. And Luke goes, I'm looking for... He's like, oh, you can't be a Jedi Master. And Yoda's like, oh, judge me for my size. And then is like, let me explain to you how Jedi actually works. Which is why God forbid, the lightsaber fight with Yoda against Count Dooku. Okay, I get it. Yoda maybe had to use a lightsaber at some point. I hate it. I hate that Yoda uses a lightsaber. he should be beyond that. Yoda should be so
that's
far.
a prime example of the CGI era, and that was the beginning phase of the CGI era. That was, let's see how much CGI we can put on top of CGI. And just because you can, you shouldn't. Because the Yoda thing, don't be wrong. Like, as a kid, when you first see him get the thing, you're like, oh yeah, this is awesome. And then you realize how stupid it is. I agree with you. He should have just been able to be like one of the old monks and like done some crazy shit like a Dumbledore type, where he doesn't really have to. Doesn't have to get too dirty, you know.
Well, yeah, and that's why it's like you look at Dumbledore and you go, really the only instance you have of Dumbledore fighting or doing anything is against Voldemort, and you see him fight Voldemort, and you go, wow, Voldemort actually should lose this battle. You go, in a straight up no holds barred match. It seems like Dumbledore transcends Voldemort to an exceptional level.
Grindelwald in the original like the Fantastic Beasts series, it's the same thing, but it's kind of interesting because Voldemort or Dumbledore, like you'll notice one thing: he never kills anybody ever.
Exactly.
So there's that. It's like he's always good at like holding off. So I think he's OG because he uses different kind of magic. He's playing against the fact that like he's not trying to kill his opponent.
Well, and that's why you see the duel between him and Voldemort. All of his magic is defense.
So yeah, exactly.
Every single thing he does.
I wish I would have even made that longer because the book is so incredible. But they did okay with that. But like that was in the book that's like one of the crowning points of the series is that fight.
Yeah, because it's like
it's so good.
You can tell like all Voldemort wants to do is use his offense and try to kill, but Dumbledore's too good. He's too powerful, and he can show. He's basically showing Harry a good defense will always win out.
Well, he's dope because like they're dead. You know, like they're dead to rights when Harry and them go in to break in to get the prophecy, and like they're surrounded. Voldemort shows up. Like in the book, you're like, oh my god, how are they gonna get out of this? And it's like, bam. Dumbledore drops in and just starts spanking people. It's definitely it's epic scene. But yeah, there you go. The one time he does it the one time. You know why he does it. He does it to save Harry. You know, really. At the end of the day, and like you said, to show Harry, like, hey, look, because later on that fight kind of mirrors the final battle with Harry.
And so now take that fight and take it to Yoda fighting Count Dooku. Is it because Dooku beat Obi-Wan and Anakin? And now Yoda shows up and he's like, I need to protect them. And it's like
no, he's just showing off, man.
it's like Yoda, you don't need to do that. If Yoda has trouble with Count Dooku,
we got problems in the whole force. We got problems in the whole world. Whole world's in trouble. This dude's been giving advice to everybody for ages. So like, yeah, if he loses to Dooku, and I didn't think he was a great Jedi warrior after that. I thought he was a fantastic gymnast. The dude was doing like 1080s, like perfect.
Well, that's the problem is he didn't need to be a good Jedi warrior. He just needed to be a good Jedi. He needed to show you
the whole speech with Luke that you were saying. He contradicts that whole speech of like, judge a book by its cover. Oh, like no,
yeah, like the whole.
He's a gymnast, you know. It's like. Just done a 1080 flipping 360 and be like, oh, Luke, watch this. Start jumping around from rock to rock. Luke would be like,
he's doing all the leaps and everything, jumping around. Yeah. Luke is like, what the?
Just hands up, finishes, stares at him like, landing.
Yeah, I mean, but and to the point of it recycled to kind of to involve that again. When you go through Star Wars, maybe Star Wars as a whole is the best example of recycling trash so that you could make trash. Star Wars is the best example of that because it's like
right. And I how did you feel about the newer ones?
Palpatine's alive.
That's weird.
And here's the thing. No one knows why.
It didn't age a day.
Like, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, because Palpatine doesn't come back to life in story. He comes back to life in the intro rolling credits. And it says somehow Palpatine's alive. Somehow.
It's like Avatar, man. It's like Avatar. Somehow this dude made an alternate version of the same movie before it. He was, it's like somehow he's back again.
What do you mean somehow?
I mean, why get creative when you can just skip through the details and just bam, throw them back? Somehow they're back.
Somehow, and it's like that, and those movies are just as poorly written, but for a different reason, right? 1, 2, and 3 had the plot lined up, and you already knew what was going to happen. There's no tension to prequels because when I see Obi-Wan fighting General Grievous, and I'm like, oh man, General Grievous got him beat. In my head, I can't even think that because I have to go, somehow he gets through this.
Oh, right.
There's zero tension.
Right.
But when you see certain things like poorly written, you go, okay, I see that. When you see what happened with the new trilogy, it's all not. I don't want to say studio tampering. I want to say it's more of you run into the problem that it wasn't planned out. And writing,
no, which is a shame.
Yeah, because the 7th movie came out and it was like, oh, that wasn't bad. That was pretty good. That was refreshing.
Right.
I would compare episode 7 to ice cold water after walking through the desert for 3 days. Through episode 1, episode 2, and episode 3, and then you get a nice, refreshing ice cold water. And they're like, here you go. And you drink it and you go, oh wow, all right, that was good. Yeah. But then you go the next day and you're like, oh man, is that some more ice cold water? And it, like, instead of being able to drink it, it's just like poured on your head. And you're like, okay, I guess I don't hate this, but now I'm wet.
It's a good analogy. I see what you're saying.
And then
episode 7 was probably the best of the 3. Let's be real. It kind of like gave you the thing. Like, okay, maybe they can do this. Maybe they can do this.
The problem was how polarizing going from the water being poured on you to the next day, which is, if you liked the water being poured on you, you're not about to like the blow dryer that's about to blast you in your ass.
Right. If
you didn't like the ice water being poured on you, you're gonna love the big air dryer. It's like that was how polarizing it was. It was like so many people complained about so many things about the Last Jedi is what it's called. So many people complained about so much about the Last Jedi. And then Rise of Skywalker came, and it was like, it was kind of like a whole nother deal. Give me 1 second.
This break brought to you by FoxHoundGaming.com. Your leader in premier sports auctions, cards, and everything else.
All right, sorry about that. I am here. Did you do a little drop?
Yeah.
Nice. So, the thing about the new movies was everything you complained about or thought was wrong about The Last Jedi was corrected in the next movie, but in the worst possible way. And it was almost like they tried
to. Give me an example.
So, in Last Jedi, or at the end of Episode 7, Force Awakens, Daisy Ridley Rey goes up to Luke and hands him the lightsaber. Whoa. This is going to be an epic scene. This is supposed to be crazy.
Right.
At the beginning of Last Jedi, he takes it, flings it over his shoulder, right? and you go, and at first it's written off as like comedy, and you're almost like, I don't like that. That was weird. I didn't like that at all. That was very strange. And then you get to the next one, Rise of Skywalker, and there's a scene where Rey, or Daisy Ridley's character, goes to throw the lightsaber over her shoulder, and I think it's Ghost Luke. I don't remember, but it goes, "Don't throw that away. That's Jedi's most important tool." And it's like, oh, come on. It's like, you're making fun when there are jabs to a movie before the movie you made. That's not good. That's bad.
Yeah, you're right.
And it's like, there's so many different angles of it, and you could tell how poorly written it is, because it's almost like the Rise of Skywalker showed up late to the party and didn't know who any of the characters were. The fact that Finn, the previous stormtrooper, sees a stormtrooper with a jetpack on and goes, "They fly now?" Finn, they've been flying. You were part of that army. You know they fly.
He's still trying to play. He's still trying to hide the fact that he was a stormtrooper. You know?
I can't. after years, he's like, "Was I a stormtrooper? I'm not sure if I was."
They fly now.
They fly now. See, that would have been better, and that's where directing comes into play. If Finn had gone, "They fly now," then you raise the question, and you can then follow it up with, "What do you mean they fly now?" And maybe Finn can be like, "Oh, well, those are regular stormtroopers," or "Oh, those are shock troopers," or something, right? And he's like, they're not supposed to fly.
There you go.
You go. That would be okay. That explains the scene. Thank you for explaining that, Finn. That it's wholly unnecessary to explain, because the line doesn't need to be there in the first place. But that is a way to fix it.
Right.
It's like, that's a way to fix it. That's how you fix what's broken.
Or just don't fix it at all. I mean, that's the thing. A lot of times when you go to fix something, you actually highlight it even more. You know, it's like, you've not brought it to light again. You know, it's like, I don't know.
It's kind of like me.
Move on.
It's kind of like me last night when Tim Tebow decided to absolutely nail all my cards underneath, and I went, "Uh-oh." No, I mean, that's where things like Sonic, the Sonic movies, Sonic 1 and Sonic 2 are essentially the same message and the same movie, but you can tell they're having fun with it. You can tell they're introducing new ideas, new concepts, and world building. And you go, that's what a sequel should do. A sequel should build upon and expand the current world that has been presented to you.
Yeah.
And as much as I know, as much as I hate to bring it into the conversation, Shrek 2, right? Shrek 2, great movie. They go to a whole new world. You didn't know Happy, or whatever it's called, Happy Ever After, or whatever it is. You didn't know that existed, and now you do. And you go, there's so many different ways to approach a sequel, and that's just one of those ways. And I think it's I think it's, the Sonic movies are doing it right. I know there's a new Detective Pikachu coming out. I'm excited for that. I hope it's done well.
I'll go see it. It will be.
But what scares me is I look at the Mario movie and I go, if this is received well enough, A, there will be a second one.
Yeah.
B, there will be other video game movies. And that's not to say there couldn't be some good ones out there. Because when I think of video game movies, I think, you know what would be an awesome movie, but holy, it would have to be done correctly, is Star Fox.
Oh, yeah.
That's just it's a cool concept.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
A mercenary band of ace wing pilots in space traveling the galaxy. That's awesome. That is an awesome concept.
Yeah,
Metroid. Metroid would be an awesome concept. F-Zero would be an awesome concept. None of those movies will get made. And instead, we'll get a Legend of Zelda. And if Link opens his mouth to say a single word outside of Hiya, I will lose my mind.
Yeah. It's another hard one.
Because it's like, I get it. How do you make a movie about a character who doesn't speak? Even though, and I'll be fair, Link speaks. You just don't know it. Right? Like that's kind of the thing. Link does talk in the games because people will go up to Link and be like, "Oh, what's your name?" And then the person that's talking to them responds, goes, "Oh, Link? That's an odd name," or something like that. And you're like, "Okay, so Link had to have talked to them. There was just no dialogue box, or there was, there's no conveying of any of that." It's kind of like Mario. You wouldn't think Mario has a voice, but Mario's had a voice for a long time.
Right.
Because Charles Martinet has been killing it since Mario Teaches Typing. And you the fact that Charles Martinet isn't Mario breaks my heart. There's no good reason. There's no good reason for it.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm with you. I just, I know you have a big art for Mario. I do too. And so it's like when you see it, the movie that you like, is like your lore. We all like different things. I like Star Wars. I like Lord of the Rings, but Harry Potter is my biggest lore. So like for instance, the movies. I still to this day, I wish they would have done them a whole different way. I'm not terribly mad at them because they got the film out there, but I have a certain critique, and I'm a lot harder on it, and it means more to me. And I feel like that's how it's going to be with Mario with you, because I mean Mario was like, dude, I mean, I remember you playing Mario growing up, like before you like learned how to read and stuff.
Well, and I don't know if you saw it in my gameplay today. What little gameplay I got to experience today, which that's something I'd talk about, but I'd be a little too angry to talk about that.
Yeah, give them some time. Maybe they'll fix it. I don't know.
I hope so.
Yeah, me too.
No, so I think I'm gonna reinstall it. That's what I'm gonna do, and just
that might be smart.
That works. No, during my play today, I don't know if you noticed, I saw subtitles on the bottom, and it was a Gryffindor student saying, "Oh, get off it, Peeves," or something like that. And I turned around real quick, and I saw a character with like a jester hat on, and then he went through the floor, and I went, Peeves!
He's back!
He's in the game!
Yeah.
That's crazy to me, because I feel, because here's the thing. Anyone who watched the movies didn't play the games, because Peeves was in the PS1 games and whatnot. But if you didn't play those games, and all you did was watch the movies, and you're kind of getting into Harry Potter now, and so now you're playing Hogwarts Legacy, and you see this character, Pervious Peeves.
Oh, Peeves.
And you go, wait, who's this character? He seems silly. Why is he so interesting, and why is his lore so deep? And you go, because he's a major character.
Yeah, he was, yeah. He's like right in the books, like right out the gate. I think he's like one of the top, first 5 people Harry meets. Probably it's like
yes,
and he torments Harry, throughout the whole series.
He's one of the most important characters because he leads them to so many different things.
Oh, 100%, man. He wants to always get him busted with Mr. Filch, and that's the whole concept. Like every time Harry goes and sneaks out into the corridors, he has to worry about that's in the movie. It's like, oh man, you better watch out for Filch. It's like, no, Filch is only a problem and a threat because Peeves is out to get him. Peeves is always trying to catch Harry sneaking out and tell on him and make a bunch of noise. So I kind of forgot that they left that whole concept out until you said it. But I mean, that's just how numb I was to the whole series. I just accepted what they put out and was like, sure. And I get done with movies, watching them with people, and be like, that was good. And I'm like, yeah, whatever.
I mean, and you're allowed to be an elitist. There's no shame there.
No, I mean it's like why? Why do that with that? But I guess it was made for the mainstream people, and it's probably tough to fit 700-page kid books into movies like that. So yeah, I guess I applaud them for that. But I was not. I was not very happy with really any of them except the last one. That's the only one I really did enjoy. And not that it followed the lore; it's just the Battle of Hogwarts and everything. Seeing it on screen. That's all. But
yeah,
it's the same with Mario for you. Is like you're a super fan, so for you it's like it's make it or break it. They're either gonna like win you over or they're gonna like piss you off. It's gonna be one of the two things. That's it.
Yeah.
There's no in between.
Which I want to go in with an open mind. I don't want to be upset before I even go see it. Right?
No,
like
yeah.
I see the trailers and I go, okay, whatever. I see what's going on, with the voice actors, and I'm like, okay, odd choices, but sure, whatever. I'll let it go. The only thing I can think of that I'm a huge fan of is Spider-Man. And I'll never forget how angry I made one of my friends when I sat down next to them when we went to go see The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Because I remember watching The Amazing Spider-Man 1 and going, wow, this movie sucks.
Yeah.
And I just remember thinking to myself, I was like, man, this is bad. This is really bad. And then it got to a point where I was like, okay, but this new movie could be good. So I'm going to kind of go in with an open mind, but soured. The second I got James Bond fighting on a plane over a briefcase or a laptop, I was out. I was out, and my friend had to sit there as I made grunts and groans over every other thing in the movie. And I sat there, and afterwards I was like, I'm so sorry, but that was terrible.
Yeah, they lost you there.
I was like, that movie was awful. Like, I wouldn't say often that I could give a movie like a 2 out of 10. That movie is a 2 or 1 out of 10 with just how bad it is.
Wow.
There's things in it that you can laugh at, and so there I give it a 2. But otherwise, it's just such a horrid.
Tobey Maguire, right?
Huh?
Tobey Maguire, the Tobey Maguire ones, or are you talking about the?
No, I'm talking Andrew Garfield.
Oh yeah.
And that's why the Tobey Maguire ones I loved. Yeah, they got some things wrong. I mean, as someone who watches Spider-Man, the second I saw Homie shoot webs out of his hands, I went, "That's disgusting."
Yeah.
But at the same time, fair. Okay, you didn't know the lore of Spider-Man. You think he actually shoots webs out of his hands. That's
how do you make that movie though and not know the lore of Spider-Man? Like it's crazy. It's like that seems to be something you should probably read before you like. You show
it's like they got the bare minimum correct. Because Green Goblin is just a man who becomes a Green Goblin, not a man in a Power Ranger villain outfit that terrorizes New York. That being said, it's still a wonderful portrayal of the character. And then you get into, of course,
that's William Dafoe, though. That's an actor that's
exactly
for sure.
Exactly. You get into it and you start thinking, and you go, okay, it's Willem Dafoe as Green Goblin. Of course, he's gonna nail it. And then you get to the second movie, which in my opinion is probably one of the better Spider-Man movies. And Spider-Man 2, you got Alfred Molina. And Alfred Molina is Dr. Ock. And it's like, yeah, that's incredible.
Right.
Of course Alfred Molina is going to be a great actor. And that's the thing is, when you can tell when a movie is cared for and has love in it and is done well. Spider-Man Homecoming, who's the main villain? The Vulture. Who plays him? I don't know, maybe one of the absolute greatest Batman just actors of all time.
Michael Keaton?
Yes. And you go, yes, that's love. That's love for the game. That's love for the craft. You're giving it good actors. When I look at the Amazing Spider-Man series, yes, Andrew Garfield was pretty good in Social Networking.
Yeah.
You know what else he was pretty good in?
What?
Social Networking.
Yeah. Right.
It's tough because then you look at the rest of the supporting cast. You go, okay, well, who else is in the movie? What other actors and actresses? And you're like, well, Emma Stone is Gwen Stacy. and for some people, they look at Amazing Spider-Man. They don't know the lore, and so they go, well, that's not Mary Jane. It's like, well, no. Gwen Stacy was his first girlfriend. That was the first woman that Spider-Man ever loved. And it came from a time when you didn't kill the love interest of the book. You didn't kill the hero's love interest. And they broke mold. Green Goblin kills Gwen Stacy, and that's it. Right? That's why you can't write a really good story with Gwen Stacy in it, because you know what's gonna happen.
Right.
But that's kind of the thing is, I still have to look and I go, okay, outside of Emma Stone and Andrew Garfield, who else is in the movie that's a great actor? Yup.
Right.
You go, okay, I guess Jamie Foxx is Electro, but he's not allowed to talk.
Right, it's like Mr. Freeze's Arnold Schwarzenegger. It's time to freeze.
Well, that one was different. That was over talking. That was too much talking. You're talking George Clooney is Batman with Uma Thurman. After Pulp Fiction, Uma Thurman is Poison Ivy.
Who wants ice cream?
What kills the dinosaurs? The Ice Age.
God.
But you look at that, and that's so endearing. That character is so endearing because you go to his hideout, and all of his minions are freezing, they're shaking, and yet Mr. Freeze is making them sing the Ice Miser song as they're suffering. And you go, this is stupid, but I'm laughing.
Sure, you can go to Batman, to go to comedy. I mean, it's what a great slapstick that was. Like, it's like, I'm going to see an epic movie. That's historically like the worst. There's the worst of all. That's the apex, and it's Batman 4. So it's like, if anything, that was like, hey, this is the book definition of taking it too far. This is the book definition of like what you should never do, because you can't do it. Like, this can't be allowed. That's the worst one ever.
Alfred is dying of the Alfred curse. What's the Alfred curse? It's the curse passed down in the family of Alfred's family.
Yeah. Somehow.
What?
Somehow. It's like, that's the thing. Like, when you said that the Star Wars one, it's like, somehow.
Somehow.
Palpatine's back. You go like that. Actually got past a board meeting, and there had to be like that one guy that got fired. It's like, hey, sir, excuse me, like, how? Why is this guy talking? We got a movie to put in production.
It's the picture. It's the picture of the guy getting thrown out the window.
I just want to know. He's like, you're fired. But I just know. Like, how's he back? Like,
how did
this guy ask too many questions?
Who was that? That was our lead. That was our lead screenwriter.
Yeah, he wrote the comics back in the day with his dad. It's like, well, we don't need him.
lead screenwriter. Who's the screenwriter now? We don't have one. We don't need one.
He created Palpatine on a napkin when he was 4. It's like, oh, Well, fuck it. It doesn't matter.
Palpatine's back.
Oh.
It would have been good if during
someday.
would have been good during the credit roll. They just have Palpatine dancing to Backstreet. Backstreet's back.
Palp is back. All right.
Which brings up a good question and leads into more video gaming mischief. Have you ever seen the I forget what they're called, but it's like a it's Star Wars Connect. If you remember when Xbox 360 had the Connect.
Yeah, it was amazing. Yeah. I do.
It was amazing because it brought us the Star Wars fan music or whatever. There was a Star Wars Connect, and in it there was like a Jedi dance-off.
Oh wow!
And they had fully done renditions of each song, and it was Star Wars themed.
Wow!
And so
I don't remember that. That's crazy.
Writing solo or whatever is I'm Han Solo. The Napoleon Dynamite song, Candy in My Heels or whatever,
Great
is
song.
Kashyyyk in My Heels.
Okay, I'm with it. I like it.
And what is it? Bulletproof is Blasterproof. It's like there's a whole just mess of songs that got released, and it's the silliest thing ever. It's goofy as all get at.
Yeah. But they already showed that they'd go goofy with Grievous. So the rest is history.
True, but I mean, at the same time, it does raise the question of like, why is this being made? Why is Star Wars Connect? Someone sat down with someone who creates music or a composer of some sort. They sat down with him and said, "Hey, my man, how would you like to make a cool $50 if you can write some Star Wars songs based off of hit pop songs of today's age?"
Right.
And the dude was like, "I can do that," and then went off. And it's like, what? Why is that happening? Why is that being made? Because it makes money.
Well, and like we said right at the beginning of this whole talk was that they don't have to do the branding. They don't have to do. They get to play on the nostalgia. The thing that we ask is we just ask that you take it serious. Like you said, you want the big actors. You want them to take the lore serious. You don't want a director to show up and be like, "Oh, so what's the name of this Harry Potter movie?" Like, it's not good for the fan. That's not good for the people. So I think that's what they do. They get lazy, and then they take it one step further and they dilute it, and they go, "Look, we can even make a Star Wars pop album."
Well, and that's why
dispensers. It's gonna sell. It doesn't matter.
That's why the Mario movie scares me the most, is because I watched a little thing of it, and it shows like not like a behind the scenes, just like a meet the actors, and it's Chris Pratt talking about being the role of Mario, and he's like, "I remember being a kid playing Mario and going around and stomping on Koopas." And I was listening to him talk about his childhood and
he didn't play the game.
And stomping on Koopas. I'm like, my man,
you could have said nothing.
You could have said nothing. You could have. If you
like fighting Bowser, he could have gone each one. But
he could have been like,
you can't say it.
He could have at least had anything. If he had played the games and was on the spot to talk about, if I was on the spot to talk about Mario and someone went, "So how excited are you about the playing the role of Mario?" And I'd be like, "Man, I'm ecstatic. I remember playing the games as a kid. I'd play on my old NES and play Mario 1 or 2 and 3, and I just remember getting the Fire Flower power up, blasting some Goombas or Koopas down in the sewers." And you're like, okay, at least you're talking about it. At least you're like, you're not pausing. You're not pausing to think about the next thing you have to say. You're not pausing to go, "What are those turtles called?"
It's not really a think about a question. It's like, But
yeah, if you
I
don't know what
agree.
if you don't know what a Koopa is, if you don't know what a Koopa is, you probably don't know a lot about Mario in general.
Right, and he's also been like filming this movie. That's how little he's paying attention still. Like he's been around probably Goombas and all kinds of stuff like for weeks, and he still doesn't even know. You know what I mean? It's so.
Well, that's probably it. The only thing he's been around is probably Koopas, and so when asked about it, he has to think, "Oh shit, what are those little turtles called?"
He grabs one of the stage guys that's wearing a Goomba. They're like, this guy? Like, this little guy here? Hey, Miguel, come here. Like, yeah, I'm a Goomba. Like, oh, yeah, he's Goomba, my bad, guys.
And he's like, oh, Goomba. I thought you were Koopa. Are they the same thing?
It goes to show how little he cares. And that does bother the hardcore fan.
And that's why then you watch Jack Black talk about being Bowser. And you can go, wow, at least he's sincere. At least he sounds like he's excited to play the character. And you go, okay, I'm excited to watch this character.
Yeah.
And that again caters to exactly what this whole conversation is about, is just playing off nostalgia and how sad it is to see people just give into it, because it makes me sad. Yeah. It makes me sad to see it, because I think of, like I said, the He-Man story sits in the back of my mind forever, because I think of that, and I think of Thundercats, and I think of TMNT. And I don't know TMNT exactly, but I'm pretty sure it was the exact same thing with Thundercats. Was the concept of Thundercats came after the toys. And I have to imagine the idea of TMNT probably came after toys as well.
Yeah, you know what? That's a good question, and I love Ninja Turtles. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that.
Yeah, and it's like, if you can make a good property out of it, sure, okay. I mean, I guess it's excused, but why does it have to be excused? And nowadays it's the same thing. Like you said, the branding's already done. He-Man is out there. He's a toy. Yeah. He's already been made. Yeah. Mario, he's out there. He's been made. Lego movie. Legos exist. They sure as heck do. It's like all these things already exist. So yeah, you don't have to try that hard. You don't have to reach out of the realm of what people already know. And that's why the Puss in Boots movie is cool to me, because it's Puss in Boots 2, which, okay, Puss in Boots because he was in Shrek. Got it.
Right.
But I would say, and this is my honest opinion, 99.90, I'll give 0.1% of people know the story of Puss in Boots, the fairy tale.
All right. Oh, sure. I didn't even know it was a fairy tale.
Yeah, people don't know the Puss in Boots fairy tale, so the branding isn't exactly done. You just know,
but it is too, because he was in Shrek, right? But the thing is, they take it upon themselves to make it good, right? It's like they don't just take it. Well, we got Puss from Shrek. We can drop a bomb here.
That was the problem with Puss in Boots 1. The first Puss in Boots movie that came out, you went and you saw it and you went, oh my gosh, this is disgusting. I hate this. And
really?
It was awful. It was so bad. And you if you saw it, you go, okay, this was awful. And you hear Puss in Boots 2 is coming out, and you go, how and why? How and why is this being made? And then you go watch it, and you look at the art style, you hear the composition, you hear the sound design, you hear the voice actors giving it their absolute all, and you're like, oh my god, this is great.
Yeah, that's cool.
And that's what I want. That's what I want. I want to see, if you are gonna reuse an idea, change it.
Yeah.
They didn't use the same art style or art direction or anything from the first Puss in Boots. They went a completely different direction, and it worked out. Sure, that's not going to work out every single time, but at least change it. Do something different. And
well, kind of how Top Gun did it. Top Gun almost scared you with the nostalgia.
Yeah, because
they're watching Goose play the thing, and it's like, oh, dude, they're copying it. But then they took that and they went a whole. I love that movie actually. I thought it was a very good movie, and I was not happy the first 20 minutes of that movie. I thought, oh my god, this is the epitome of nostalgia. I was like, he's like literally playing the piano, like on the motorcycle. Like, come on, man.
If all you're gonna do,
they took that to wrap it up, and then go the other direction. And I like that they did that.
Which if you're gonna pander to the audience, okay, whatever. You'll sell.
Get it out of the way early.
Get it out of the way early, and then turn sheet. Go a different direction.
Show how it's different, yeah.
And it's like that to me is what not scares me. I don't want to say scares me. I want to say rather what makes me concerned about some properties. I look at Mario movie and I go, there's really no lore. There's really no lore to build off of there. You live in the Mushroom Kingdom, you go save Peach, you defeat Bowser. There's really nothing else to build off of there. There is in some avenues.
You're right, yeah.
Because if you look at Super Mario RPG, the original game on the NES, which slapped, you go, okay, there is lore. There's a whole world of lore out there, and you could build on that, and it'd be awesome. But you gotta be careful with it. Don't go one for one. Take some of the ideas. Like, for instance, Detective Pikachu, I would say probably, again, 1% of people knew it was a video game and not a movie first. Detective Pikachu was a video game.
They killed it. That was great.
And that's the thing. The movie isn't anything like the video game.
Yeah, right. It took the essence of it, and I'm guessing Last of Us is probably in the same type of boat, right? Like where they kind of have it, but they like make their own awesome epic.
Yeah,
rendition of
they
it.
kind of are doing their own thing to a point. And anytime there is, because here's the thing, anytime there is crossover from like lore of the games, it's perfect. It is done tastefully. It's done well. It doesn't linger. And you go, it's a difference. There's differences. But then on the opposite end of that, there is Halo. And you go, oh, it's overdone. They went too far. They didn't understand the character at all and assassinated it. And there's a big difference there. Because
you can go your own way, but you can't mess with the lore. That's a great example, because you can't take Master Chief and be like, he's a human. Or you can't take like Harry Potter and be like, well, actually, he sucks at this curse. It's like, no, you can't do that. It's like,
well, I mean,
then you're going your own way too much.
And that's the thing, is like, humanize Master Chief, okay, fine, but do it in like a tasteful way.
Right.
The whole point of a character like Master Chief is to be the most like loyal, the most unmoving, unwavering, monstrous man to ever exist. That is what Master Chief is supposed to be. You don't
He's a perfect
need
soldier. He's a perfect soldier.
Yeah, you don't need to follow everything to a T. He can be different, but there are a few things you gotta make sure you nail, because it's not like, oh, you should copy him because it's a good character. No. You should copy him because you see what people love about him.
Right.
And so if people love that about a character, why would you change it? Why would you go out of your way to take the thing that you know people love and go against it? It's just it doesn't make sense to me, and that's what I'm worried.
And there's where Harry Potter holds the best example, is in the old books and movie. You got Crabbe and Goyle, the minions of Draco, and during the last filming beforehand, it's like, oh, equal rights, all this stuff, and I'm not banging on that, but I'm saying like it was a big fact that we didn't have enough black wizards in Harry Potter. But I mean, she wrote it in the UK on a napkin. She didn't put black wizards. Whatever. But dude, they literally replaced Crabbe with a black. Crabbe is not in the final movie. Crabbe is like that's like his. It's a black guy named Blaze Zabini, who I don't even know if he was in the book. I guess I'm rereading him now on the audio, and I'll get to that. But like, there's epic scenes in the Crabbe and Goyle's like most epic scenes are the final one, like the room requirement when they the fiery dragon and everything. They just got this black dude in there, just chilling, plays the beanie, and I'm like, and see that's not allowed.
And here's the thing, and it was best put by a YouTuber I watch constantly, is I don't think anyone is mad that you wrote an all white, all straight cast, J.K. Rowling. We're mad that you keep lying about it.
She was under so much pressure. That poor lady. She wrote a wizard book. She's not a politician. You know, it's like, I feel
yes,
bad.
but that's the thing. Why do you need to explain vanish me poopum?
She felt bad.
Why? Just it's what, what? Nobody asked. Literally nobody asked J.K. Rowling before wizard plumbing was a thing. They just vanished me poopum. J.K. Nobody cared. You didn't need to.
It went down a rabbit hole. It's like, well, if you got more black people,
Ron was crippled,
handicap, and which is also a room requirement. That seemed to just be a circus. Like you got a black dude in there, all of a sudden you got a handicapped guy in a wheelchair. Like this shit, that's not how it went down in the book. Like it was a white crab. It was unhandicapped rump, and they were going to fight. Like they had a statement dragon that popped up because the crab's lawn messed up. It's like the dude who sparks the whole scene is now black, and then they switch it to Goyle, and he's like, "Good Goyle, what's up?" I'm like, wow, they just like totally just screwed this whole scene up. I didn't want to watch it. I'm like, oh god.
But I mean, that's kind of the thing, though, right? Is it's like it's sad because then you think of it, and you know this answer. Don't try to hide it. I want you to think. I'm gonna say regional, right? Give me a person whose name you would say is Chinese. Just give me a Chinese person's
name. Hoi Choi Lam.
Okay, there you go. So, who in book 4, if I'm not mistaken, who was Harry Potter's love interest?
Cho Chang.
Come on, man.
Yeah, Cho Chang.
Cho Chang. JK.
Well, because Hoi Choi Lam was an assistant I had in China, and she actually goes by Irene. So even the Chinese themselves.
But that's what I'm saying.
You know what I mean? Like,
I'm saying. I'm not
yeah.
pointing out Cho Chang. I'm pointing out Luna. What's her name? Luna Goodmoon.
Luna Lovegood.
Luna Lovegood. Hermione Granger, Ron Weasley, Severus Snape.
Cho Chang.
And
she was actually racist. That's why she was defending herself. Now it all makes sense. She was just a blazing racist. She had no black people on purpose, and the one Chinese person was named Cheng Chung.
It's like what? So you see what I mean?
Like, oh,
it's like
they might find out.
What's the main headmaster's name? Wulfric Brian Percival Dumbledore.
Yeah. Albus Percival.
What's
Brian Dumbledore. Another white boy name in there. But it means the same thing. Like if you watch the Mario, they did okay, and then the last one, all of a sudden, like Asian rights is the thing, and like Luigi comes down, and he's like, "It's cool, man," and all of a sudden he's like, "Wait, what? They took out Charlie's dick, and it's like, "Cool, man." Like, in Chinese Luigi, it's like you can't do that.
Well, that's the thing, right? Mario and Luigi are supposed to be Italian, but are people really going to be offended if cartoon character Mario comes onto the screen and goes, "Hey, a bit of the babcho"? It's like, is it really a big deal? He's supposed to be an Italian plumber.
It's pretty racist, man. Italians, man, they go through a lot. But yeah, it's like, and then they change his name's got to be Blaze something. It's like, yeah, and Luigi, since Chinese people can't pronounce L's, they Luigi. I'm Luigi.
Luigi.
Don't worry, guys. It's the same person. Act like you're not seeing this. And the thing is, the casual fan in Harry Potter didn't know. It's like, oh, cool. Draco's got a black friend all of a sudden. It's like, yeah, Draco has a black friend. There's one person in this universe. And planet of all fantasy people ever that would not have a black friend. It's Draco, the pure blood, pure white man. He's basically the Aryan race. And he's like,
maybe that's the biggest thing that is assassinated through the Harry Potter books. Why is Draco a baby?
Well, I mean, I just think that kid didn't age well. I don't know. Like, it's
because no, not that. Like, does that happen in the books? Does that happen where Hermione like threatens Draco and he like backs away and he's gonna cry about it?
So kind of. I mean, the thing is, Draco is a big baby. He's a big pussy, but like the thing is it's different because he's actually a bully and he's like scary until actually Hermione does like punch him in the face in the third one or
book 3,
fourth one. Like she does smack him down, and Hermione would smoke Draco. He should be very scared of Hermione. So it's like kind of an interesting concept later where you're like, oh my god, like why was
but Draco killed Albus.
Because Albus had that set up. He needed to switch to Elder Wand's powers. That was a ruse. He had to like he basically suckered him into it. Dumbledore knew that Draco was on a mission to kill him. He had to kill him so that the Elder Wand didn't belong to Voldemort no more.
And then Harry.
They didn't do a good job explaining that. Dumbledore's death is like he had to do it to switch to power because otherwise they couldn't have killed Voldemort. He had to die.
Yeah.
Because the last person that killed you with the wand, that wand belongs to that wizard.
Well, it's kind of like when you think about it, right? It's like the idea of the Horcrux. And as much as I respect the world that J.K. Rowling built, there's no possible way that the Horcruxes were a thing from the start. There's no way. There's no way.
Well, right.
Because
I feel you because they didn't pack that in the book as well.
No reasonable writer would say, and now the main villain of this book is going to give this little girl the main part of this Dark Lord's existence is going to be handed to this little girl to be handled.
It's interesting. I've thought about that exact thing of being maybe why she did think of it, but it's a catch-22 because
that's stupid.
Well, right.
You handed it to a Weasley, the number one person that Harry Potter hangs out with, and you gave it to them.
He did on purpose, though. He was trying to seduce her because he knew he couldn't seduce Harry. So if he could seduce her, he knew that Harry loved the Weasleys and he would go rescue her. They do a bad job showing it.
But that's the thing. Why?
Well, and also, it's not like Tom Marvolo thought, hey, Harry's going to defeat this snake and rip his tooth out and then destroy it with a basilisk's fang. Because that's the sword of Gryffindor and basilisk fangs, like the only two things that can destroy the Horcruxes. So it's like.
But that's the thing, right? If you think of the story and the way it's written, it makes sense if the diary is cursed. And you go, okay, it's just a cursed diary.
It is.
But to call it a Horcrux is when you go, okay, well, maybe it shouldn't have been a Horcrux. Maybe it should have just just been a cursed book. And that's fine.
I was such a super fan, I didn't really think of it, but I remember reading the books and being like, man, this is a really deep thing that kind of dropped in. Like book 7.
Because let me I'm going to spin you a tale of Dungeons and Dragons, right? And what Voldemort is, what he's based off of, because, I mean, you can tell. And this is how the world works, so deal with it. Dungeons and Dragons and the world of Lord of the Rings, J.R. Tolkien's Lord of the Rings, everything is based off of those. And when you look at Dungeons and Dragons, there is a thing called a lich. And a lich is a powerful sorcerer, wizard, or whatever, magic user. And the idea of a lich is that they become undead. And they can live.
Lich King in World of Warcraft.
They can live forever. And you go, okay, well, how do they do it? Oh, well, they have to put their essence into something called phylacteries. And they can give these phylacteries to their minions. And those phylacteries are spread to wherever they want so that they can never die. As long as those phylacteries exist, the lich is always going to be able to come back to life. And now I've told you that, and who does that sound like?
Voldemort, but
yeah, of course.
The thing is, it's tough is that he did always, like, he was obsessed with being immortal. I mean, that's the thing. He did want to be immortal, and that is a concept. And it's the way that they explain the Horcruxes, because it wasn't until book 6 when Slughorn comes in, and even Slughorn is kind of a forced character. All of a sudden, there's this professor that was the greatest professor ever that comes out of retirement, and it just so happened he was Tom's professor that Tom seduced into telling him about making the Horcrux.
But that's why you can tell the Horcrux isn't a thing until
But
like
there had to be something. That's the thing.
Well, until like
so maybe she switched it
until like book 5. You can tell that until book 5 or so, you can tell it's like, oh, the Horcruxes weren't a thing. That wasn't real.
But his immortality was. So
his immortality was, which could have just been better defined.
Like Dumbledore knew he wasn't dead. You know, like everyone knew he was coming back. He was just gaining power. He was weakened.
Exactly.
He wasn't dead. So there
it's
was
like
but they didn't know how.
I believe you explained it best. The fact that Harry, it's done poorly in the movies, but it's done way better in the book. From what I went back and I actually checked after me and you had this exact conversation. You go back and you look and you go, man, Harry stumbles upon some gruesome stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Like Quirrell is bent over a unicorn.
Oh, yeah. Eating its side out.
Yeah.
Blood out of it. Yeah.
And from what I read, it sounds like he's got his body contorted, so it's like Professor Quirrell is facing away.
Like the Exorcist girl.
Yes, like it's an Exorcist girl, and you can see
Voldemort's controlling the body and doesn't give a fuck. Yeah.
Exactly, and you're like, that would have been terrifying.
Well, that's the thing. Is like it's such an interesting thing because. Yes, they're kids' books, sure, but like not really. I mean, once you get kind of deeper into them, they're really not kids' books. They're actually very epic stories, and it's tough to see on the big screen, especially with the first movie and some of the other ones. I still like them because of nostalgia. There it is, right? But it's like, dude, Voldemort and Dumbledore are the two characters they messed up the most on. Because Voldemort, to me, Voldemort really didn't even look like Snake Boy 5000, or like when I first saw Voldemort in the fourth one with whatever his name was, Team Jacob or Team Edward as Cedric Diggory. Yeah. I was like, man, that is not what I thought. And I remember like kind of hearing, oh man, he's so creepy looking. He was first off, he was the most handsome dude like growing up. That's the thing with Voldemort. He was like a stud. He was prefect. He was like a straight A student. He was the dude. He was a womanizer. Like, but he kind of always had his like own like weird manipulative way because he loved using people at his disposal, right? So his looks and his like charm and stuff was kind of like what got him big. As he went on in life and he messed with quote-unquote Horcruxes that don't get mentioned till later, Dumbledore knew because he came to an interview for the Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher, to which Dumbledore didn't hire him, and that's why it's cursed, and no one's been able to make it more than 2 years because Voldemort put that curse on the job. But then it's like, at that point, all it said in the lore is that Dumbledore noticed that he started looking a little more pale. That he looked like he wasn't his normal, like, handsome self and glowing anymore. But the fact that he turns into a complete snake with a flat face and the slits, it's like, the actor did a great job. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, that's not what if you read the book, that's not what you saw Voldemort looking at. You saw Voldemort almost more like a black demon entity, like, still human, but, like, more of a savage, like, badass, like, mofo. And in the movie, they, like, don't even make him kill anybody. Like, it's weird because he gets off to killing people in the book. Like, that's, like, his favorite thing to do.
I mean, that's what's portrayed.
Take care of my garbage.
Like, that's what's portrayed in the movie. In the movies, it's portrayed that, oh, Voldemort he just loves killing people. You know? He just loves killing people. But then you think about it, you go, wait a minute. Voldemort doesn't really kill a lot of people.
Like, nobody, man. Like, it's like Nagini, eat their head off. Hey, Peter, take care of my trash. It's like an epic spot, too, where you're like,
hey, Peter.
No. Hey, Pete, you seem like you got one hand on you there. I need you to go ahead and I've been waiting for this my whole. I've been for 13 years. I've had to act like a spirit and drink unicorn blood, and now I'm back. Oh my God, here's my flesh. Pete, can you take care of that kill for me real quick?
Hey.
Like, no. In the book, he just slaughters Cedric. He's like a lot of cadaver, and the way that he does it in the book, it's not like it's just like a lot of cadaver. Like he is the guy spamming that, like in the book, you know. Like,
I mean, but
so, I don't know.
But I do like how hammed up he is, how excited he is. Like, it's like what is it? Episode? Is it the fifth episode? Fifth book. I think it's the fifth book. The movie is when he's like thinking of Voldemort, and it does like a little flashback where Voldemort is like in an Armani, he's like in an Armani commercial, and there's clouds behind him, and it's just 1 second.
Exactly what
Huh?
Yeah, I know exactly.
It's like for 1 second it flashes to him, and you can tell the actor is just having fun. And he's like,
but that's actually Voldemort. You know, like he wouldn't be wearing a Armani suit and be like, because like, yeah, he was a monster. He's a terror. And in the movie, he's like, no, everybody get together for dumplings and soup. My snake wants sausages.
That's why
like,
to me, when I watch the movies and I think of Voldemort, I think of Dumbledore and I go, okay, so these guys are like two different characters. And now,
yeah,
here's the thing, okay? This is going to sound funny. I'm going to describe a character from the book as best I can without giving too much context as to what I'm alluding to, right?
okay.
And so I'm going to say a powerful wizard who's quite aloof, but still is excited about what he does.
Dumbledore.
Okay? Actually, I'm talking about movie Voldemort.
Yeah. No, Eric. I guess they flip-flopped him in a way. It's like, what?
A powerful wizard who takes things seriously and will often take things and matters into his own hands.
Yeah, book Voldemort and movie Dumbledore.
Movie Dumbledore.
It's
like they flip-flopped
all the time. It's like in the books, I feel like Dumbledore would be wearing literally like a Merlin hat, like prancing around and like say a funny thing and like totally like catch someone off with a funny one-liner and then like tap his toes on the way out and be like, what? Like he'd be the one in the vision going, yeah. You know, like Dumbledore was just clowning in the books, and he's like a super wizard, and he's funny, like he's great. And in the movie, he's just like, he's terrible. Like, I don't understand. He's like hardcore staring at everybody, like mean mugging them when they come in for the great feast at the beginning. He's like, He's like looking down. I'm like, dude, the feast always seemed like great celebration.
I mean,
like everybody drink, yeah, party, woo.
The portrayal of the Goblet of Fire. Dumbledore asked calmly, "Did you put your name into the Goblet of Fire, Harry?"
Dude,
movie Dumbledore.
I gave me chills, dude. I got angry when I saw that in the theater.
Movie Dumbledore.
Yeah,
Did you put your name in the Goblet of Fire?
I remember being like, oh my god.
It's like, oh,
Dumbledore's work. That's it. He was dead to me when they did that. He would never grab Harry's arm. He'd be like, Harry didn't do it. Yeah.
I guess I don't like the idea of a headmaster wizard who's supposed to be like all good, all true, like altruism, right? Like that's supposed to be his thing.
Yeah.
And instead, he like looks down on every single wizard and witch that isn't him.
He's like fucking sizing everyone up at the Great Feast to start the year. He's like, first years, I'm gonna fuck them up. I'm gonna fuck those second years up. He's like, he's waiting to do a speech, and then he's like, smacks the podium. He's like, quiet. Dumbledore speaking. He's like, no. In the book, he's like probably I would see him like up there, like just bobbing his head, like high fiving like one of the Professor Sprout or something, and like having a good time. Because in the book, he's like a fun-loving guy, but he's just very wise beyond his nature. And in the movies,
Which it seems like Hogwarts Legacy is going to do. It seems like Hogwarts Legacy is going to lead into that and lean into the idea of a Dumbledore who was like well thought out and really like smart about what he did and how he did things.
Oh, it's great because I don't even know if it's like set way in the future or way in the past yet, but like either way, it's just great because they brought the pensive in and like essentially Dumbledore would be able to mess around with the memories in the past and future. So it's like at least they bring him back to being Ultra Wizard because in the movie it's like I feel like Dumbledore's just like barely in it, and when he is, he's just grumpy and he's like, Harry, enjoy. And it's like, no, dude, he's like supporting Harry, like he's basically like his fairy godmother. Like that's the best way to look at it. He recruits Harry, he finds Harry, he knows Harry's the chosen one, and he makes sure Harry's life is like simple, and he always like plants stuff everywhere.
So how do you feel about J.K. Rowling's comment that Dumbledore and Grindelwald had a intense sexual relationship.
Yeah, it infuriates me almost as much as Crab being black. If you're trying to play a game of like let's piss off a Harry Potter fan the most. It's like, so what makes you what pissed you off more? It's like, I don't know. I don't know, because that is not even a concept. It's not even. It doesn't even make any. It has nothing to do with the lore. It's not like, oh man, because they got down on each other, like that really changes things. They were best friends, and they practiced and made magic together, so they came up with the charm that they could never kill each other. Basically, they could never kill each other. It was like a best friend thing. It wasn't like, hey, bend over, let me have at you, and I'm in love with you, because that was not the love that was even essentially like brought up in the curse, you know. So it's like, it really, if anything, it screwed the whole thing up, because it's like, wait a second, Dumbledore's gay? What? Dumbledore like thinks about sex? Why? He's like, there's so much going on, man. You got gay relationships too on the side? Like, golly, this dude's deep.
He's deep.
He's super deep, dude.
I think I got my episode title.
God damn. Dumbledore's fucking got a secret gay relationship as well. This guy is like, who is this guy?
He's the pensive.
Yeah.
For him, he doesn't need he doesn't need a computer. He just uses the pensive to watch.
And then you make him the most non-gay guy in the movie. Like,
imagine he's sitting with Harry. He's like, "Hey, I gotta show you something," and he just shows Harry, and Harry's like, "Is that Grindelwald? What are you doing?"
Turn around, Harry.
Oh God!
You might not like this the first time, Harry. And later on, Harry wakes up in his bed and he's like, "Oh, what's just happening?" And you see Dumbledore messing with the pensive. He's like,
he's like got his wand to his head.
Harry feels his blood. He's
got his wand to his head, and he's putting it.
Harry, come out. You welcome. There's a twist on things, man. I don't trust him anymore. Harry's got a lot of alone time together. A lot of alone time. It's like a whole thing of the Harry Potter. It's like Harry goes,
and this is the sword of Gryffindor, and this.
This is the sword of Dumbledore.
This is the sword of Dumbledore.
No, it's not. It's a dildo. Now bend over, Harry.
Pencil.
Not even Leviosa. No.
Accio.
No, too. Who's the evil one here? I don't know. But in the books, no, Dumbledore's not gay. He's too busy. A side dude.
Like Yoda or any master. Any time that you go into like a character like that, you would think of them as beyond human. You think of them as this character that transcends that whole idea or that whole line.
Exactly.
It's kind of like in the world of Hogwarts, or well, I guess I would just call it the world of Hogwarts, right?
I'm sure. Yeah, it's a wizarding world of Harry Potter.
Yeah, in the wizarding world, you know Merlin existed, and he's basically treated like God.
Right.
Kind
of like Gandalf.
I know nothing of him. I know nothing of Merlin in the wizarding world. I don't know a single thing he's ever done, ever alluded to, anything he accomplished. It's like he must have just been OG wizard. Is that it?
Well, I think that's what they're trying to. Dumbledore's kind of like the concept of like the Merlin from the Knights of the Round Table, like how King Arthur had the wizard, right? That's what made him the Great King. Was he had this wizard that was like smarter than everybody, that helped him and gave him heads up. Like it's very much playing on that concept, which is like, you know, that's why it's like it even made sense in the book. Kind of reading, you're like, okay, this kind of makes sense. Like you got this superhero dude, he's young, he doesn't, he's got no clue what he's got to do. He's got this wizard guy that's kind of helping him. He's kind of funny and like, you know, knows everything, but like, you know, always gets it done. And yeah, in the movie they don't give you that Shit, they actually make you think like Dumbledore kind of like pissed off at Harry in the movie. You know, it's like
well, but that's the thing is in the movie, the only thing I'm left to believe is Dumbledore is Merlin, but he's not. He can't be
right,
because
right.
whoever Merlin was, it's not portrayed at all. And I guess that's fine. I guess I can't really be upset about that. But what I'm upset about is when I see a character like Dumbledore and you start making him like have any type of like human connection or emotion, I have a problem with it. Anytime I see a character like that in general,
It's like, yeah, that's why the gay thing, like, yeah, like you said, they're supposed to be almost like more than human. They're almost supposed to be like an entity at that point because they're, they're so like
so far beyond that idea.
Yeah.
But
right.
But I guess not. I guess not.
Yeah,
Jake,
hey,
Jake.
Dude, it's like that's not small. I mean, I can see like he had a wife or something a long time ago and he gave up on love. It's like no, I mean even that would be like okay, sure, but the fact that like he just so happened to also be gay with Grindelwald, the most dark lord before Lord Voldemort, like then this dude's probably not in a trustworthy spot. He might sleep with Lord Voldemort. You know what I mean? Like this guy's not the dude I want to tap the ship because his already breached trust 1 through 4.
Like I don't know. Dumbledore goes deep.
Track record, man. Like, there's just things that go down. Hey, Tom, let's go in the back real quick. And like, what is Dumbledore like hooking up with Grindelwald anyway? Like it's terrible. I think it's like it's so super all knowing. Like, did you know it too? Like then he's just really dark. Like because also he could have gone back and changed those memories, and he didn't. He was like, that one I gotta keep, man. That one I really gotta keep. Makes him dirty. Like,
yeah. But yeah, I mean, I guess that's all just part of it. It's just part of the world of Harry Potter. I feel bad. I feel bad I did this to you. I've upset you.
Well, it's just, yeah. I don't even care if they remake the movies. To me, the movies were just an opportunity to see the portrayal, but it was just so far off. And rereading the audiobook now, it like makes me like even more so because I'm just like, my God, how much they change everything. Like
I hope
they didn't need to.
I hope they do. I hope they remake it some point in the future, and we get the like true to form Harry Potter that touches on like everything it could, right? And gets all the characters correct. Doesn't try to stray from it, but
no, it'll probably be a CGI Tom Cruise, and the Chinese director will be like, "Why'd you pick him? It was cool. It's cool."
Cho Chang.
Old Joey.
Sounds like the sound a cash register makes.
Yeah.
Cha-chang.
I read. I mean, she actually it's terrible. I feel bad because, like, now that I think about it, her character too really takes it hard in the book because she gets the truth serum put in by Dolores in the Order of the Phoenix, so she dimes out the whole order, and then but she gets the truth serum. So like she's also like now she's not only she's the only Asian, she's bullied real hard. You know what I mean? Like, I think about it, she had no line there. She made the one Asian Cho Chang, the fucking person who dimed out all the white people that ever had their club. She was ousted all the way through, all the way through. In the movie, they're like, oh, Terry kind of looks through, like, no, she was literally ousted. In the book, nobody talked to her, she was what your everyday Chinese person goes through. So, but yeah, J.K. Rowling's a racist, and she tried to cover it up by making Dumbledore gay. It's not a bad deflection move. Maybe she is a politician. I don't know.
Maybe.
She's like, how can I get away from people calling me racist? I got an idea. Yeah, Dumbledore was gay. Dude. Grindelwald. Do you want to ask him it? Yeah, he makes secret visits.
Who's he gay with? Grindelwald. What?
Huh? Dark Lord.
Why?
Right. It's crazy. It was a curse because they were best friends. And it's really alluded to in the book because they try to talk about the Voldemort thing. And the whole point was that Dumbledore couldn't kill Grindelwald because they were best friends. And that is brought up. Like, they were best buddies. They were the same year Hogwarts. Like Ron Weasley and Harry Potter. You think Harry Potter go kill Ron Weasley? Probably not. But if he at the end was like, dude, we were actually having shower parties and we were playing tummy sticks.
Oh, oh God.
It'd be weird. You'd be like, oh, come on, Harry and Ron. Same concept.
Well, he couldn't because Ron's a cripple.
Yeah, exactly. I guess, yeah. I don't know. Yes, I got it gets me angry. But well, I got my crazy stories. I can cruise through them, and they're not that great this week. Not as much crazy stuff going on, but I got some good little tidbits if you want me to.
Sure.
Okay, we got the first one here. The header. She left her 2007 iPhone in its box for over a decade. It just sold for $63,000. This happened this week. This lady, Karen Green, got a new job in 2007. Her friend told her to pitch her phone and get a new iPhone. She didn't open the case, left it in the case, while hundreds of thousands of Americans clamored to get their hands on the first revolutionary Apple smartphone. Green wasn't one of them, whatever, blah, blah, blah. She upgraded to Verizon. She kept it in a box in her garage, found it, and somebody bought it at an auction. So an online auction, she put it up, and it shattered expectations when Green's iPhone sold for $63,356. So we should keep our collectibles, basically. So I thought that was kind of a
investment,
crazy thing. Just an 07, like, Jesus Christ, like
it
just doesn't matter what it is, just don't open it. You know, like,
it's just Apple, right? Like, just Apple. Apple gets away with it.
Yeah. And second one here, since we're on the topic, I guess I must have a premonition. But anyways, Chinese news. Chinese kissing device lets people in long distance relationships make out with each other.
All right, guys. So that's the end of the podcast.
Dude, you gotta see this. I gotta send this to you, man. It's weird. Because you think like, okay, dude, it's weird. Yeah, even has like a little connector that goes on your phone, and like you feel the 3D shaped silicone gadget that's like mimicked off, and like you're making out with like a silicone thing, and you put your face up to use the sensors. It's out of control. Like, it's so crazy. Like, yeah, they go up and they look like the one Birdo just stuck it on the phone, man. And it's like, oh god. And they told me that they tell you not to like touch your hands on the phone because it's dirty. Like, you're like licking it and making out with it. It's crazy.
What?
It's weird. Yeah.
Are you sending it to me right now?
I might as well here.
Okay.
We go get this to you. Since it's something you gotta see. Send the link. Yeah. It's wild.
Oh
How did I
god.
send it to you last time? Over the phone?
Yeah, sure.
I got it on my computer. I'm trying to think of the best way I can get it to you.
Yeah, you could probably just drop it in the drive.
Oh yeah, okay, I'll drop it in the drive. Yeah.
So kiss. I guess.
Yeah.
I guess
I
it's
don't
a
know.
thing.
Dude, you almost have to watch it because it's really like a minimal article and then like a 10-second video, but it's enough to really get the point across. They somehow pull it off. Yeah, dude, I can't wait. It's 3 days ago, so I'll send it to you actually on text. I just sent it to you just now.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I don't understand. I guess I just don't.
You're about to.
Oh god. Oh man. Yeah. Okay.
Right?
Why?
Just why?
How do you?
That's gonna lead to depression. How do you what?
How do you? How?
Right.
How do you,
So if you look it up further, you can see like it's a silicone like thing that you get like 3D lips, and it's a $40 app, and it mimics the heat, the movements, the pressure of the lips. Yep. And you'll both put your face up to it, and you just start making out.
someone's gonna put their dick on it, right?
But dude, you're making out with a silicone like it's really creepy. Actually.
I mean, someone's gonna.
Really like.
But like, someone's gonna, right?
No doubt. No doubt. I can't believe this is a thing. I can't believe I mean, dude. Oh
I can't believe it
one
took this
picture,
long.
Dude, I gotta send you this picture. I just saw it. Like out of all of them, it looks like an asthma device, like with a tube, but like with Teletubby's face on it. Like it's creepy. I wouldn't even. Oh.
I just.
Yeah, I'll send you. You kind of can see it in that picture I sent you, but this one really front view. Can you imagine just going up that thing? Being, I'll miss you, Stacy.
Oh my god.
And they must have just had leftover defibrillator asthma machines from COVID, and I got an idea. How can we reuse these things?
Listen. Some inventor had a long distance relationship, and they were like, man, how can I really get more engaged in this?
I'm gonna make sure if I can call with my sex doll that nobody's gonna judge me for it. Yeah.
The thing is, there's so much this could be used for, and it's like. It's
like going to be a blowjob machine. Everybody knows that, and then everybody just sit it's our society. People sitting on it it's a horrible thing. It's a terrible thing to even let out.
I'm gonna put it up to my butthole.
Right, and it's crazy because it was made at the Chengzhou Vocational Institute of Mechatronic Technology. It was an actual institute that made it. So it's God, man, this is what funding goes toward, and God, man. I mean, the more I'm looking at this and seeing it, it's disturbing. It's really disturbing. It's cool. Yeah.
Just.
And people look like they're sucking on it. Not there's no way that was that does not mimic the gratification of making out with the person you love, man. If anything, it's it's the most depressing thing I've ever seen. The one that looks like she got a Homer Simpson head on the bottom. I miss you, Tom. Gonna give me head real quick, Tina? Yeah, go ahead, put it down on. Oh, man. Hopefully don't tell anybody we did this. It's yeah, okay, it's our secret. We're probably the only ones in America doing this. And meanwhile, every single sitting there doing all kinds of freaky shit with it. But yeah,
it's good.
That's what we needed.
That's what we needed. I'm glad that I had a story. I looked one up just because I was like, you know what? I'm curious if I can find something good. I found something, but man, I ain't even gonna bring it up because
No, bring it up.
Cho Chang and the kissing machine.
Right, the Cho Chang kissing machine. We didn't even get to the Jalen Carter and John Morant news. My God, that's nuts. That's
oh yeah, I heard about that.
Both same day, yesterday. It was insane. That's two mega athletes. Let's see what happens because Jalen Carter might screw up his number 1 overall pick. The nutty thing is that Bennett kid from the quarterback from Georgia, he goes out, gets one disturbing the piece or whatever. He's never going to play in the NFL again. And then Jalen Carter is at the scene. Someone's dead. He somehow is out of jail within 2 hours to make sure he's at his combine. It's it's hilarious. I'm dude, that's what? He's at the combines? That's I got questions. You guys at the scene. Someone's dead. He's pretty sure he was driving the car, and he's still getting clicking his 40 time a couple hours later. What? Awesome, but not this is crazy.
Star Wars theme plays. Text starts scrolling. Somehow, Jalen Carter has killed a man.
Crescent floated on the set. He's gone.
Somehow, John Morant has returned.
Jalen Carter. He's supposedly John Morant's a psychopath, man.
The NBA is on the precipice of war.
Dude, the guy's wild. I did not it's crazy. I never you never look into your super athletes and we watch John Morant dunk on people, but bro, I dug into it, man. It's now people are coming out of the woodwork. He rolls around a 10-person posse and bullies Foot Locker shoe salesmen and stuff. Puts their head on their chin and is I'm gonna kill you. I'm what?
Yeah, John. I told you. I was telling you this last week.
Why?
I was like, John Morant's crazy.
Psychopath.
He's a psycho.
But same thing. I just don't know if like he should be maybe like not judged too hard, because what does it take for a man to dunk that hard and put their nuts in the face? You know, it's like clearly we're seeing that it takes a certain kind of crazy to be able to do superior athletic things.
But damn it, does his card sell for a mint?
That's the biggest thing I was worried about. I'm like, dude, what's he gonna do? His card sale, like his card value, like I hope they bury this thing. I hope they bury this thing before I get a mosaic on him, because
I'm gonna start opening the Star Wars Chrome cases, and I'm gonna open Jalen Carter somehow. Jalen Carter.
Like, I hope Jalen gets off the hook. Rooting for you, Joe. It's just a whistleblower. Sounds like to me. I mean, let him play.
Jalen Carter now has to perform community service. What's his punishment? He's got to play a character in the Harry Potter films.
Right, the new Blaze. The new Crab. Called Blaze. Yeah, there again too. Like there's J.K. Rowling's racist. I didn't even think about the black guy's named Blaze.
His name is Dominique Burks.
I'm a wizard.
I'm a wizard. He invents magic basketball.
Right. It's like, he doesn't look like a wizard. I'm a super fan. Like, racist. Jeez. Go with it. It's like, all right, fine, fair, sure. Crab's black, named Blaze now.
Whatever you say, Cho Ching.
But yeah, it sucks, man, because Jalen Carter, man, like dude, he's a generational talent, and like it's just crazy. Like it's also crazy that he was at the combine, man. There's no person in America that murders somebody. It's at the scene. It's like, I didn't do it, and then like 8 witnesses say, yeah, he did, and they're like, we really did want to see his vertical. Like, we really
that's not necessarily true, right?
Like Marshawn Lynch, it just goes to show the super athlete can get away with anything. Like,
I mean, Ray Lewis definitely stabbed a man to death.
Yeah, but it was in self-defense, man. Because think about it, dude. I can really see some guy really like beating him up and bullying him, right? To where Ray Lewis felt he needed to murder someone in self-defense. Where he really felt in fear of his life. This guy's a freaking lion. Like, the guy's like basically hunts people for a living. And like, oh man, I'm defending myself, scared for my life, man.
Scared for my life.
I did, man. I was near him, bro.
Ray Lewis,
like, put a forearm on him and threw
Ray
him
Lewis is
feet. Like, what are you?
Like Ray
Lewis. He murdered him, and he was like, "Oh shit!" He was like, "Fucking like." He goes, what's the one in Powder? No, the guy Green Mile. He's like, "Oops, I actually murdered him." Like, he's like sitting on top crying. He's like, "Oh."
Like Ray Lewis, one of your thighs is the size of an average human torso.
He murdered the guy. He was
self-defense. I was scared for my life.
Right. Oh my god, I defend myself.
Did you have to stab him to death?
Yeah, right. Exactly. So I had to stab him. Like, God damn.
So I stabbed him. It's like the Always Sunny joke. So anyways, I started blasting.
Right. I mean, I'm not scared of a lot of people, but that's one person I would just roll over and just take the murder. I'd be like, yeah, that dude coming at me with a knife is not. There's no point that I'd be like, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna fucking scare this guy. That would make him fear for his life. Like, I got an idea. I'm gonna take this fucking freak show that's 6'3", 260 running a 40 with a knife about to stab me. I'm gonna be like, rah.
You're like, just approaching Ray Lewis.
Yeah, I bet you growl me and he stabs him. He's like, self-defense, motherfucker.
I bet you thought Dumbledore was gay the whole time.
And no.
Ray Lewis, what did he say that scared you so much? He told me the Horcruxes were planned all along. If that's true, that means Voldemort's retarded.
Right. And anyone can say that this society's racist, but the Green Mile guy that's racism. That was racist. The Green Mile guy is Ray Lewis now, and he's out with the Super Bowl months later. Like, it's society's just fine. It's like just if anything, it's the opposite of racism. But whatever. That's a whole nother.
Unfortunately, O.J. Simpson didn't finish the season with 1,500 rushing yards, so we're gonna have to remove him.
The Juice got away with murder because of a running back, man. Like a literal, that was an argument. It's like, yeah, he's so good at USC, and it's like he murdered his wife and the boyfriend viciously. His shoes were there. His glove was there. It's like there's no other person in the world that's like, you know what? God, he was a hell of a runner. You know, but it's like, look at that Marshawn Lynch video that nobody's really even seen. It came out like a year ago. It's actually disturbing. He's found on the side of the road. His hubcaps are off his car. His tires are flat. It's like 7 in the morning. He's sitting there like he's on 8 different drugs. The cop's talking to him. He's like, yeah, beat him over there, all over the place. Abandoned car on the road. Right.
They should have pounded the rock. They should have pounded the rock, Marshawn.
Right. And the cops are trying to be cool and be like, that's because Marshawn's being so crazy. And then 1 week later, it's the opening game this year, and it's like him and Aaron Rodgers sitting there broing out playing video games. It's like, oh, Marshawn's such a good guy. And it's like, what? That just happened. Nobody's even brought that up, dude. If I had, life, the cops would circle around and beat me to a pulp. The guy had no hubcaps. He was drunk. He was in the car, the driver's seat, passed out, and then tried to fight us. And but no, if you're just good enough of an athlete, there's that line. Then you're safe. Stetson Bennett, I feel bad. The guy never lost a game or one loss in Georgia, and was a fringe player, and one disturbing the peace, got too drunk. And dude, he's not even on the draft boards now. They forgot that he played. And it's damn, you don't want to be a Brock Purdy and get in trouble because you're fucked.
Well, I mean, I think we all know what happened though to Jalen Carter. More than likely, he found out that his girlfriend was using the Chinese kissing app with this guy. So I think that's what. It's
not his fault.
It's not his fault. He was caught up in the moment.
NFL players are in town, so I can make sure not to drive at 3 in the morning in any residential areas because this is a real thing. And you see the videos, you're 150. First off, that's the DeLorean. Normal humans don't get access to those cars. We don't. They give out at 115. So when I see 150, 160, I'm why are they selling NASCAR cars? First off. Those are the people that need to be looked into. It's where are these guys getting cars that go 160? That's the in between a plane and our cars. And it's it doesn't make sense because it's supposed to be meant to not let people do that. So you give a guy millions and millions of dollars. He's 20 years old. He just got the DeLorean. Of course he's gonna drive fast. It's Jesus.
Why he has no reason not to. That's what he wants to. He wants to do it. He wants to get in trouble, right? I don't know.
Right, but he feels untouchable.
It's funny. I feel bad because at the end of the day, man, are these guys just good athletes?
Right. I mean, the one article here is Jalen Carter returns to NFL scouting combine after arrest. So it's he got arrested at 11:33 p.m. on Wednesday, right? He's released at 11:49. So he had to spend a whopping, dude, by the time they processed him, they didn't even they stamped him and then he did a merry-go-round. And you're out. Because he was literally 16 minutes later out on a $4,000 bond. He murdered someone. And he's got a $4,000 bond? What? That's insane. And they moved the case back. We'll deal with this later. We really wanted to go to the combine. The next day, nothing happened. He's out there just running the 40 and everyone's yeah.
He murdered a man. Gosh, that's a good 40. That's man. That is a
story.
That's a solid vert.
I wonder if you get that person going that fast.
Well, I think we're gonna close it out here. That's good. That's a good one. But all right, I'll catch you later, Brody. Everyone else, thank you for tuning in.
Outro music?
When you do, huh?
No outro music again?
When you're the best of friends.
I'm kidding, man. We've been busy as heck. I'm just joking. Oh, that's good.
All right. Next time, catch y'all. Next week,
Later.
March Madness.
All right. I'll see you next week.